Hello, everybody. I am very glad to see you again. We are as a broadcasting with Smit today. Hi, Smit. How are you?
Yeah, hi Malik. I am doing well. How's you?
Yeah, I am great, really. Yeah, today we are having a co-partnership with DSC with Western University. Also, we are doing two broadcasts, and you can watch our broadcast into different page. So that Smith will be with us with Kotlin, fundamental of Kotlin or jumpstart with Kotlin. Okay, I will hand over to Sumit after a while later, but I wanted some mention. You can find all useful documentation in the description site. You can find the PPT and you can find the Smith contact and his YouTube channel as well. This is a hypercoder. It's going to below as you see. So Smith, let's start with you. Yeah, give a small description before the starting event.
Yeah. So hi everyone, and yeah, first of all, thanks Malik for arranging, and thanks to GTG Baku for arranging this nice event. So yeah, hi everyone. This is Smit Patel, and I am working as a senior Android developer. And currently, our session is going to be on the Kotlin. So let me brief you about the Kotlin. So Kotlin is the first class language. That is what we have in the Android. Previously, we had the Java, but right now Google adopted as a first class language in the Android. So that is what we are going to check, and a bit about MVVM architecture. So I will cover the basics of Kotlin and basics of MVVM architecture.
Oh, that's good. Okay, let's wait a little bit and we can start your presentation after 2 minutes later. We are hoping to do. We are hoping to more participant for this event.
Surely, surely.
Okay, I am. I am already stage. I am leaving the stage, and you are taking the control.
Surely, yeah. So yeah, let me share my screen so I can better explain you guys. I am just sharing the screen. Perfect. So I hope that the screen is visible to you people. So this is the basics of the Kotlin. Like we are going to check first the what is the exact Kotlin, the first programs, variable, and what is the well versus const, and other stuff like looping functions, collections, lambdas, extension functions. I think I am not. My screen is not visible. Can you make it? Okay, perfect. Now,
Yeah,
now
it is
it's
visible already. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So okay. So these are the stuff that we are going to check, and this is cover pretty much everything. We do have other stuff, but these are all the basics and a bit of high level like lambdas. Then comes Kotlin multi-platform coroutines and CL class. So these are the kind of the stuff which is we can consider as an advanced stuff. So let's go one by one here. So considering the introduction, yeah. So as I have mentioned that Kotlin is the open source language, and it is already been developed by the JetBrains. So JetBrains is the company who developed the Kotlin. It is also a company who developed the IntelliJ IDEA and Android Studio IDE. And both are the use for the Kotlin. For Android, you can use the Android Studio, and for like normal Kotlin server side or any other program, you can use IntelliJ IDEA. So what is the advantage of the Kotlin? First advantage is that in the Java, if you are not writing your code properly, so there is a chances that you will get null pointer exception. Sorry, but in case of Kotlin is a null set. So in here, you will not get any null pointer exception if you are doing the code properly. Otherwise, if you are like writing a variable as a null, and then also you are not like trying to prevent that, then even in the Kotlin you will get null pointer exception. So suppose if your project is already built in the Java, and you are now trying to include the Kotlin in your project, So then also it is possible because Kotlin is 100% interoperable with Java. And yes, this is I can say synthetic sugo. We don't need to write semicolon in Kotlin. Just like the Java, in the Java, if you are no, then we need to write semicolon. But in the Kotlin or Python, we don't need to write semicolons. And this is I can say most important. Suppose you are writing your code in the Java and you don't know how to write in the Kotlin. So in that case, you can directly convert your code from Java to Kotlin, and your IDE, like Integrated Development Environment, that you are using, be it IntelliJ IDEA or be it Android Studio, it will automatically convert your Java code to Kotlin. And yes, one thing, as we have limited time and we have too many topics to cover, so we are scratching the surface. And if you want to know more on that, so you can go to this link from the description, or like from you can also check here, because I have created separate video per slide on the channel. So later on you can go and watch that. So yes, we do have two options here to write a Kotlin program. One is that we can use the IntelliJ IDEA. Another one is that Kotlin compiler. So Kotlin online compiler is also developed by the JetBrains, and it is known as the Kotlin Playground. So let me first show you the IntelliJ IDEA. See, this is a IntelliJ IDEA. If you can go help about. This is the community edition. We do have enterprise and the community, and community is free. So it is recommended to use the community. And if I will say about the Kotlin like playground, so let me open Kotlin playground here. This is a Kotlin playground. So here you can write your code, and it will automatically execute inside your browser. You don't need to install any software or anything. So this is Kotlin playground. So let's write a bit of code inside our IntelliJ IDEA. So let me create a new file. So if you are not aware with IntelliJ IDEA, so let me just brief about the IntelliJ IDEA. See, you can create the modules and the other stuff from here. You can also create your Java class or Kotlin class. And yes, in the same project you can use Java or Kotlin, because both are the interoperable. For like compiling, you can use that build option. And here we have the integrated terminal, so whatever you want to execute, you can execute from here. So let me just create new Kotlin file. Let's name it test. So we have created a file, and let's write a small function. One thing here, Kotlin is considered as an like functional programming language, and even the object oriented language. So in case of functional programming language, our first class citizen is the function. We don't need to write a class. We can use directly a function. So you can see here, I have directly used the function. I don't need to write class test and then curly braces and then function main. I don't need to write like this. I can remove class. So if it's the Java, in the Java we must need to write a class, but if it's the Kotlin, it is okay without even writing the class. You can do that. So let me just print something here. So we do have two options here for printing. One is the print and another one is the println. So you can also write like, and also this one. So println is the something like by which your print command would be executed in another line, and if you are using normal print, it is printing in the same line. And for running the Kotlin program, you have two options. You can either go to this play button, and like your ID is smart enough to consider that this is your runnable function, and you can just click it here. So perfect. You can see here that we have successfully executed our first Kotlin program. So if you want to check this code in the Kotlin Playground, so let me just copy, open it inside the Kotlin Playground, and let me paste it here, and let's run it. Perfect. So if you are just starting out the Kotlin, so and you don't want to use or install any software, then this is a good choice. Again, I am repeating, it is a play.kotlinlang.org. So I think we are done with our first program. And yes, see, if you just want to check more, so here is the link. So you can even click on that link and you can check full tutorial. So I already shared this PPT on the slide share. So if you want to check in the future, you can check that. Now we have the variables. So in terms of variable, we do have two types, where and where. So if you are familiar with the Java, so in the Java we have the string, integer, float, doubles, but in the Kotlin it is automatically detecting the type, like we don't need to do anything, and we don't need to assign a variable type, we just need to write where or well, and we are good to go. So what is the difference between where and well? So if you are using well, so at that time you can't change the value of that variable. And if you are using where, so at that time you can change the value. So let me go to here and open it, like well mname is equal to DSC Yahoo. And also well m second name is equal to abc dot xyz. Let me convert it to where. So now let's print it out. Use the println here. Let's print mname and run it. Perfect. So here you can see we have successfully created variable and we have successfully printed this statement. So now suppose I want to change this m name. So can I do it? Name is equal to something like only DSC. No, we cannot, because as I have mentioned here, val is the immutable. So val can be assigned only a single time. We can't assign val multiple time. Even compiler is saying the same. Val cannot be reassigned. So if you want to reassign, you need to change it to where, and then we are good to go. So now whenever you are going to print, it is printing DSC, not DSC Baku. So let me run it. Perfect. So it is just saying DSC. So this is a bit about well versus where. Suppose if I am going to write here integer like 3, and I am removing this. So we don't need to write here like we are declaring integer, we are declaring string. System will automatically recognize that this is an integer. If you want to declare externally, you can do after the colon. But compiler itself saying that explicitly given type is reductant. As it is reductant, it is advisable to not declare. So I think we are clear till now, considering the well and where. Now we have another thing, which is val versus const. So what is a val and const? So val is also like variable type which can't be changed, and const is also the same. So why we actually need both? The thing is that in case of val, we can define a runtime constant. Like we can create one function named as calculator, and we can assign that function to the variable. Yes, in the Kotlin we can assign a function to the variable, but if you are using const, you can't do that, because const is only compile time constant. You don't have the value of this function calculator while compiling. So let me do that. I am just removing, and let's create one variable here. Perfect. So we can assign a static value to the const val. We can also assign a static value to the normal val. So now let's check, can we assign a calculator function? Perfect. We can assign a calculator function to the normal val. So let's check, can we assign this to the const? No, we cannot, because as I have mentioned here, we cannot use const for the compile for the runtime constant. So this is a runtime, because whenever we are writing the code, whenever the system is compiling, system is not sure that what is the output of the calculator. So at that time we need to use normal val. We cannot use const. So even if you will hover your mouse, you can see the same error. Another thing about constant, you can't write constant here, because constant must be a top level. See, modifier constant is not applicable to the local variable. So let me get back to our original stage. Perfect. So this is called as an top level function. This is called as an top level variable, because for this function and for this variable, we are not using any kind of class. So this is called a top level. So I think we are pretty much okay with the val and const. So now it's time to check visibility modifier. So if you are aware with the any kind of language like Java and C or anything, you have faced that we have visibility modifier like public, private, internal, and protected. So in the Kotlin, it is same, like public, private, and protected is the same. Only difference is the internal. So let me go in the quick what is public, private, and protected. So if you want your like function or variable visibility application wide, like each and every class regardless of your package can access your variable, at that time you should use the public. If you want that your variable is a variable or a function is visible only for the same file or same class or the only the scope when it is declared, we need to use private. If you want that your variable visibility should be only for the inheritance like the parent class and the child class, you can use the protected. So what is the internal here? Let's go back to the code. So let me open the module. To open the module, you can click here. See, this is a module. Untitled is one module. You can see here. You can create as many as module from by clicking plus new module, and you can create Kotlin module and the native module. So here the untitled is one module. So whatever you are writing here as an internal, like if I will write as an internal, so internal is accessible throughout the same module. So that is the one thing. And if you are using the single single module application, which is the true in most of the times, so at that time you can consider public and internal is the same for the same module, or I can say only one module public and internal is the same. So let's check. This is the internal, and I'm creating another file here. Perfect. So we do have two files, and if you want to split, you can do that using by just clicking the right and selecting the option of split right. So it is more convenient. Let me just scale it down. So let's check. Can I access this name from here? Perfect. So we can access this name from here. This is a utterly two different file. This is one test file and this is another test2 file. So if I'll write public, then also we can use that. But as I mentioned, default visibility is the public. So it's okay if you will not declare anything as in public because it is a reductant. So can I write private? Yes. But if you will use the private, you will lose the access of that variable from another class, which is a test2 class. One thing here, as I mentioned, this is a top level variable. So in the top level, you cannot use protected. So system is denying that modifier protected is not applicable to top level property. So we can't use protected here. So I think we are pretty much okay with our visibility modifier. Now the times comes Varax and the spread operator. So what is a Varax? So let me just close it. And one thing, yeah, before Varax, let's check one thing. How can we pass the parameter to the function? So here I have one parameter, a comma integer, b comma, b colon integer. So here I am passing two parameters. And how can we print that parameter? So for that we can use dollar signature. In the PHP you can often face this dollar signature, but in the Java it is not normal. So in the Kotlin you can use dollar for the string operations. And here if you have created your two argument, your compiler is not happy. Compiler is saying that we are not passing any value for a and b. So let's pass some values, 1, 2. So we have passed two values here. And now let's like run this program. Perfect. So here you can check that we are printing the data $a, which is a 1, and $b, which is a 2. So suppose in the future if I want to pass n number of arguments, suppose one time I want to pass one argument, another time I want to pass 5 argument. So how can I do that? I can't create a multiple function with overloading, like with the one function is taking one argument, another function is taking 5 argument. So at that time we need to use Varax. So as I mentioned here, it is used whenever we want to pass random number of argument. And we can have only one Varax for function. We can't use multiple Varax for function. So I have created something for Varax already to save the time. Let me just comment it out. Perfect. So this is a function which is accepting a Varax, and in this Varax we are doing nothing. We are just looping through the variables and adding to previous variable and returning the sum. So this is a normal calculator for the sum. So as I have mentioned that Varax is behaving just like arrays. So here you can also loop through the Varax because you can also loop through the array. So the same goes for the Varax. So let's do one thing here. Let's create one like Varax. So well output is equal to KLC, and inside the KLC you can pass as many as you want. So for easiness, let's pass 2, and let's print that variable. Perfect. So what we have done here, we have called this function KLC, and that function we have passed two variable here, and from that two variable we are returning the sum. So sum is the integer here we have declared, and yes, in the Kotlin we can declare the return type like this way. After the function declaration, after the colon, we can use the return type. So if I will run this code, you will get 3 as an output. Okay, I think we have run a wrong file. Let's run test kt. Perfect. We can see 3. So suppose I am adding 5, then also 5, then any variable I want, and let's run it. See, we are getting a total. So the thing is that if we are not sure about the number of argument we are gonna pass, we can use the Varax. So moreover, in the future, like if you have any idea, like if I have one variable, let me comment it out first. If you have variable which is a array of the same number, and you want to pass that array inside your Varax, so how can you do that? So for that, you can directly use Varax by spread operator. So what is the spread operator? The spread operator is the link between the array to the Varax. So this is a array, and I want to pass this array to my Varax. So for that only we can use spread operator. So let me run it. Perfect. So we have seen here two types. One is the normal Varax with the variable number of argument. Another one is the spread operator. So let's move to next, top level functions. So I think I have already mentioned about the top level functions, the function which is not requiring any class or object to work. So it is called as the top level function. And yes, we can directly write the Kotlin function, and the Kotlin function like Kotlin program main execution point is the function, not the class. So let me remove that. Yes, one interesting thing. So that video I have just uploaded today itself on my channel, but let me refer you here. So if you have any questions on that, feel free to ask. So this is my main function, correct? And I am printing something like hi. So here you might have question that Kotlin is the JVM language. So here in the JVM language, how can a language can be compiled without the class? So for that, let me do one thing. Go to tools, Kotlin. So Kotlin bytecode, set JVM targeted, do the decompile. And here you can see a decompiled code of the test file. So in the test file, you can see the Kotlin compiler itself converting your code to the Java code, and it is adding the class. So even if you are not writing any class, Kotlin by default adding the class and adding the public static void main here. Public static void main, which is a standard entry function entry point for the Java. So Kotlin is doing nothing, but under the hood, Kotlin is converting your file to the Java compatible file. So that's all for the, like, I can say, decompiling of the Kotlin. So yes, considering the loop, so looping is a normal for any language. Like in the Kotlin, you can loop through the iteratables. Like you can loop through the list, array list, set. So let me give you a brief example. Function main for, yes, one thing. This is called as an range expression. So just like this is not, I think, available in the Java, because in the Java you need to write something for integer I is equal to 0 and I less than 10, I plus plus. So this is what you are going to write in the Java, but in the Kotlin the syntax is much simpler. So you can directly use this range expression, and you can provide the range, like for how many times we can iterate to the this loop. So let me just do a print statement here. Perfect. So if I will run this function, so it will print this line for the 10 times, and we can access the number of, like, iterations or number of the inputs from using the I. So let me run it. Perfect. So see here, you are saying that we are printing 1, 2, 3 to 10. So that is for the for loop. We do have another loops like the while, 10 comes, to while. So these are the standard looping, and yes, also we have another, like, features for the for loop. So let me go to the official Kotlin document site. See, you can check here. We do have options like we can also use the reverse. This is what I have shown. This is forward. This is reverse. This is a step, like it will go to the reverse, like 5 to 1. And a step is that it is skipping 2 points, like it will print 1, 3 and 5. So there are many options you can explore later on if you want, and also, like, the video is available on the hypercoder. So that's all for the loop. So when expression, so if you are aware, if you are aware with the switch case in the Java, so in the switch case, suppose if you want to select something from array or something from the collection, at that time you can use the switch. But the thing is that switch is quite narrow, and it don't have much functionality. So in that case we do have the when expression. So in the when, we don't need to write a break, like in the switch we need to write a break after every cases. But if you are using the when, you don't need to write break. Another stuff is that we can use the arbitrary branches, like I can write if the expression is is has the this value, if the expression output is the object, if the expression output is the integer. And yes, when expression is much of the similar like normal English, so whatever you are writing in the English, you can do as the when. So again, we don't have much time, so let me do one thing. I already created a demo for the when, so let's just use it. So in the earlier Kotlin version, there is a functionality, not actually functionality, but it is necessary to use argument and the list of the argument. But in the recent version, it is not required. So you can remove that. One thing you have noticed here, we are assigning a variable to the function. 2 is the variable, and we are assigning to the function, and we are assigning a function the variable. So resource is the function and we are assigning that function to the variable. So later on, what we are doing is that we are writing a when block and passing that function which is a 2, and we are checking that 2 is the integer, 2 is inside 1 to 10, 2 is not inside 1 to 5. This is for not sign, or else print you are an alien because it's nowhere. So let me run it. Perfect. So it is saying that x is integer. So suppose if I will remove this, so it should say us that x is in the 1 to 10. Perfect. Now if I will switch 2 to 20, it should say us that x is not in 1 to 5. Perfect. So this is kind of simple English, like when x in 1 to 10. So you can even assume like when x is not in 1 to 5. So even the layman, like who don't know about the programming language, they can also understand what the Kotlin is. So that is the power of Kotlin. And one more thing, Kotlin is not just for the Android. You can do program for the server, for the data science, for the AI, for the robotics, for the like embedded system, home automation, IoT. Kotlin is everywhere. Like whatever you can do in the Java, you can do in the Kotlin. So I think we are pretty much done with the when. Now the times comes for the constructor. So in the Kotlin, we do have two types of the constructor. Like in the Java, we have only one type, but in the Kotlin, we can use the constructor for two kinds of stuff. One is called as a primary, another one is called as a secondary constructor. So what is the difference between primary and secondary constructor? And the main question, why we need secondary constructor is primary constructor is well enough, or else if primary constructor is there, then why we need secondary constructor? So the main reason is that you can't write a logic inside your primary constructor. So if you want to write a logic, you can use secondary constructor. Or if you don't want to even use a secondary constructor and then also you want to write a logic, at that time you can use the init block with the primary constructor. And as in the Java, like if you want to access your superclass constructor from your child class, so at that time you should use this. You should use super keyword. And it is possible in the Kotlin that in one class you can have the primary and the secondary constructor both. So for that, there is one condition that your secondary constructor must authorize your primary constructor to be compiled. Like without that, your compiler will not execute your program. So let me do one thing. Let's go to here, because if I will write this program manually, so it will take around 10-15 minutes. So just save the time here. So now just concentrate on this class and only these two lines. So here I have created class OD. In that OD, we have the constructor which is a primary constructor. So you can declare primary constructor inside the round braces, and you can provide the name. So whenever you will create the object of that class, you need to pass a name, and the advantages of that, you can directly access that name using control space. If I will run this program right away, so you can see it will be Q8. So let me run it. Perfect. So you can see it is a keyword. So if you will not pass anything, so as I told earlier that you can't run your program. See, your compiler is saying that no value passed for the parameter a name. So that's the reason you need to pass parameter name. Now comes the time about the secondary constructor. So you can see here, this is a like okay, let me open this parent class. So this is a secondary constructor. For the secondary constructor, I have written as in constructor keyword and passed argument as a name, age, and location. And also I have used the primary constructor as a parent name. But here, as I mentioned in my slide, if in the same class we have primary and secondary constructor, then we must authorize primary constructor via this keyword. So here I have authorized this my primary constructor via this keyword, and I have passed my name from here to here. So let me uncomment it and let me run it. So I have created my parent object and passing the ABC as a parent name, and I'm accessing this a parent name, and here I have created init block. In that init block I can access my constructor parameter. So that parameter I have passed here via the primary constructor. So let me run it. Perfect. So you can see that my init block has been executed and the output is it's printing from parent class ABC, and another one is that output of this line. And another stuff I want to mention is here we do have two options, not two options actually, but if you want inheritance, so in that case you can't inherit a class directly, because by default each and every class in the Kotlin is the final. So as you might know that we can't inherit the final class. So for inheriting the Kotlin class, you must needed to make it open, and for making the class open you need to write open keyword to the parent class, and after that only you can use that parent class. So I think that's all good so far for the primary and secondary constructor. Now comes the data class. So I am working on that. It is not available in PPT. So what is a data class? So data class is something which is encapsulating your data. Like if you are creating the system of employee management, in that employee management you have the data type as an not data type, but your field as an ID, employee name, and employee role. So it is better to encapsulate these three fields inside only one field. So how can we do that? Perfect. So this is how you can create your data class, and you can encapsulate everything inside your data class. So how can we access that from our main class? So let me split it. Perfect. So by this way, you can create, or I can say initialize your data class, and later on, if you want to access any kind of this stuff from your data class, you can directly do uh, like control space, and you can directly access emp id, name, and emp role. So it is much easier, much proper. In the future, whenever you will start your Android development, and that if you will use see your room database, or I can say your retrofit, so at that time you must need to use data class. In the Java, we do have like Pojo, plain old Java object, or you can say getter setter. But here in the Kotlin, we can achieve it using data class, and it is quite small, quite handy, and quite concise. Then comes Elvis operator. So Elvis operator is nothing but I can say like it is much usable for if else kind of stuff. So if you want to write your code to be execute even after the like your variable is the null, so at that time you can use the Elvis operator. So the syntax for the Elvis operator is that. So this is called an Elvis operator. So whatever you have written here before that will be executed if it's not null, and if it's null, the another part will be executed. This is called a right part, and this is called a left part. So it will be executed your right part will be executed if it's null. So even you can throw null pointer or any kind of exception, throw exception here, so which is quite powerful, so you might want to explore it. Then comes function. So we can have function like main is the main entry point of any Kotlin program. We can have as many as function we want. Function abc, function xyz. You can have the return type here like integer. Here if I want string, let me return. For returning, you can normally use return statement just like the Java return 1. Okay, because main can't we do that, let me write pqr, let me return. And yes, one thing, if you are have declared the return type but you are not returning, so you will get error. So let me return something here. And if you are returning string and you are declaring integer, compiler will not able to compile. For the function, we can also have the visibility like public, private, internal. I will check. I will tell you the shield class in the later on. And yes, we can also create a open. I think that is pretty much for the basic functions. So the reason behind the uses of the function is that we want to segregate our code in the small chunks. Like we don't want to write our whole logic inside only one function. Yeah, yes, Russell. So we can't use the main because main is default reserved. So we can't do something like that. That's what compiler is complaining. Conflicting overloads. Then comes the collection. So for the like Kotlin, we do have different kind of collections like array list, integer array list. So let me just brief about the int array of, then comes array list of array of nulls. Even we can create a nullable array. We can create a boolean array, double character. So in the Java, we have limited stuff for the array, but in the Kotlin, we can even create an array of the empty. We have long, short, many stuff. Like for the hash map, we have map of, then comes empty map, hash map of, linked hash map. For the set, Also, we have set of nulls, linked map, linked set. So we do have too much for the collections. So here I'm just going with the very basic, which we are normally using in the Android. So which is a normal like int array of, and you can print it. It will print whole array. Oh, I think this is causing the issue. Let me do a for loop. Perfect. So it is printing stuff. If you want to check in another line, let me use println. Perfect. We do have mutable array list. Sorry, mutable list of mutable set of. So here you can pass integer. So collection is very vast. So I am just giving you a link here of the Kotlin official Kotlin document. So which is might useful for you guys. Kotlin collections, and official site is very much useful than other websites. So you can check it out. See, we have too much for the collections. So I hope that you are clear with the basic of the collection. Then comes the higher order function. So what is the higher order function? So in the Java also in the latest version, we do have the lambdas. But in the Kotlin, since very early stage, we can access the higher order function. So normally we are using the function to do a subroutines. Like whenever we want to do something as a subroutine, we can use the function. But we like this is a bit strange that in the Kotlin we can pass a function as an argument to another function. We can return a function from another function, and we can also write a function which can accept the function and which can return a function. So this is called like a hierarchical function. And considering the lambdas, lambda is something which don't have any name, which is only a single line, and we don't need to write like as a function. We can directly use that lambda. So let me use my pre-written code here. See, this is a classic example of the lambda. So I am just hiding out this stuff. There are too much. Let's concentrate on this one first. So this is a lambda of the single argument, and we are not passing anything here. We are just using the print statement, and it is not returning anything. So here in the print statement, we are printing like I am very simple lambda, and I am just calling that. So this is a lambda without argument or even a return type. Suppose if I want to use a lambda which has the argument but it is not returning anything. So this is a syntax. Like you can write argument here, you can pass argument. So this name like a and this name must be same, and this is your method body. Like you can consider as a method body. So this is also lambda, this is also lambda, this is without argument or return, this is with one argument but without return. If you even want to pass a argument and even you want to return a type, at that time you can use something like here we are passing the argument, here we are returning the string, and we are calling this function and passing the hello. So let me run this. See, first of all, we are getting that I am a very simple lambda, which is the output of this function. Another one is that only hi, which is the output of this one. Third one is that we have passed argument and we are returning the hey. So this is the output of this one. This is a quite a bit complex, so I am not covering here in the depth, but I can give you a basic glimpses. So suppose you are creating one function. In that function, you are passing a normal argument 1, normal argument 2, and also you are passing argument as an function. So this is a function, and you are using that both argument and you are calling a function. So this is C is the function, and I am calling that function. So how can I pass the function and the argument? So let me go to awesome. See, here I have pasted this one and this integer number and the lambda function. So as I mentioned, this is called as the input. This is a return type. So I am pretty much sure that you didn't get much out of this, like this lambda and higher order function, because obviously it is a bit complex for the experienced one. So I'm not going to like bore you guys. So like let's close it lambda for now. I have added the link in the description so you can check more in my video. So one by one, take one step at a time, and you will get to know a lot about the Kotlin. So I hope that you got a basic idea about the lambda and the higher order function. Then comes the extension function. So what the exactly use of the extension function? So suppose you are writing some class and you want to extend the functionality of that class. At that time, you can write an extension function. So suppose you want to print ABC before the like string. So at that time you can use the official string class, and you can extend that class and you can enhance the functionality of that class. So whatever class not in your hand or not in your control, and you want to enhance the functionality, at that time you can use the extension function. Then comes the singleton. So singleton is the basic design pattern in the Java, and in the Kotlin, if you want to make anything as a singleton, you can use the object. So if you write something like object ABC, and whatever you can write here, it is considered as an singleton. So like the in the singleton, you can access that object from anywhere. Then comes companion object. So in the Kotlin, we don't have the static. So at that time, you can use the companion object to make it like static. And if you are writing companion object, at that time you can access that companion object from anywhere. Like I have the class and I am writing companion object, and I am using value colon. So this is called as companion object inside the class, and I can use that companion object from my another class like main dot a. So we can directly use that object from another class. We don't need to create an instance of that class. So that is the benefits of the companion object. Then comes trail recursion. So if you are using any kind of recursive function, so we have a limited space inside our like memory, and if your program is taking too much memory, so your program will be crashed by the system to prevent to prevent your application to consume the memory of other applications like Fibonacci series or factorial. you need to use a recursive function. So at that time we can use the trail recursion. Tail recursion is something by which our program will never be crashed. So I have created, I think, one. Yeah. So here, this is a tail rec, and in the tail rec I'm doing nothing, but I am calling a function kelsey from that function itself. So it is a infinite loop. So if I will remove this and if I will try to run that function, it will run for a while and it will crash. Yeah, see here. The program has been crashed because system is not finding much memory and resource to execute this function. So after 6715 times uh, execution of this function, the system crashed. So if I don't want to do that, just add tailrec and run this program again. It will run infinitely. It will not crash. As you can see here, it is going and going on. So I need to manually stop that. So that is about tailed recursion. Then comes sealed class. So sealed class is very much heavy topic. So I am again brief you out. If you are aware with the Java enum, sealed class is the same, but in the Java enum you don't have the different kind of the object types. Like if you are declaring as a string, so each and every object must be a string. But in the sealed class, you can have a different kind of the object. Like you can declare one class, and later on you can even add the another class. You can add the class with different constructor. You can add the object itself. So it is high powered enum you can consider. So if you want, I can show you one demo. See, I have created this country shield class. In that country shield class, I have added India, Turkey, Pakistan, Russia, and I also added this alien GF class and added two parameter, and also it is from the country shield class. So this kind of stuff is not possible inside a enum of the Java, but it is possible inside a shield class. So it is quite a good, if you want to explore more, so you can do that. But I wish that first clear what is class, what is variable. Later on, this could be a last topic of your syllabus of the Kotlin, because here in the cell class we can even do something like we can write whole class, and then that class extend the country, which is a cell class, and we can even write the function, and even one shield class is extending another shield class. Like see, error is already one shield class and it is extending another shield class. Null safety. So as I mentioned earlier, that Kotlin is basically null safe, and you can write a code as a null safe using Elvis operator or late operator. So question mark colon late, for that you can use. So it is a null safe operator. Then I think we have covered basic of the Kotlin, like lazy verse is let init. So if you don't want to initialize your property right away, you can use let init. And considering the MVVM, MVVM is something that we are calling as model UU model. So it is the official architecture, like designed by the Android, not exactly Android, but Android is recommended us to use the MVVM. And for the Jetpack component, like if you can see here, we have the Android Jetpack library published by the Android developer itself. They have the component for the MVM, like view model is from Jetpack, live data is also from Jetpack. So in case of like MVVM, any kind of business logic, suppose if you want to write like API classes, or you want to write a database, that goes for the repository, and view model is responsible for calling that repository. So that is the main part of the view model. Another benefit of the view model is that it has the lifecycle aware component. So if you are rotating your device or if you are changing your configuration, at that time view model will not be destroyed and you have access of data inside the view model. So live data is just like the observer pattern. So whenever you want to do a subscriber or observer kind of stuff, you need to use the live data. So let me open the Paint application. I think whiteboard which must be set up. See here. This is your view model. This is a repository. This is API and this is database. So repository is connected with API and database. View model is connected with the retrofit, and your UI is connected with the view model. So whatever changes or whatever the business logic you want to write, it goes here. Whatever repository stuff for the API or database goes here, and you can do UI operations on your XML via data binding. So let me do one thing. MVVM Android. See, in the official developer.android site, they are suggesting us to use the MVVM, and this is official architecture diagram by the Android developers, by the Google. So they are saying that we need to use view model, live data, repository, room, retrofit, and web service. So room is nothing but a database. Retrofit is also a library which is responsible for calling a web API request. As I mentioned, the repository is responsible for handling the database and the API, and live data is the communication layer between activity and your repository. So I think we have covered up almost all about the Kotlin, like variables, top level, lambdas, extension, companion, null safe, MVVM, silk class, and I am not going much in the coroutine, but let me brief you that coroutine is the threads, lightweight threads. In case of your Java, like not your, it's ours. So ours Java, we have the threads. So thread is also lightweight, but you can't spawn around 1,000 threads. So even if you start 1,000 thread, your application will crash. But in case of coroutine, you can start millions of thread, and then also your application will run smoothly. So that is the advantage of the coroutine. So coroutine have the different threads, like IO thread, then comes the default, then comes the main, and also you can use the your own thread inside the coroutines. And we can start a coroutine via the launch and async, and if you don't want to get any result, you can use the launch. If you want to get result from thread, you can use async. But this MVVM and coroutines are the advanced topic. Let me first tell you which is advanced, so you can put it at end, and you can start learning the basics. So Silk class, coroutines, MVVM, Lambda, and yeah, these four stuff are very much complex. So better you need to learn first this basic topic, and then you it is much easier for you to learn the coroutines and the MVVM. So I think that is all from my side. So I think Malik, you can share some stuff. So I am done from my end.
I mean that you provided link or such kind of things.
For what? I didn't understand. Could you come again, please?
Yeah, what did you want to share?
No, 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 no. I have I have done with my session. So
Uh-huh. Yeah, you already
yeah,
good. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
let's
If anyone
switch.
has any
Yeah,
questions or anything, then we
le-
can. Yeah.
yeah, good. Yeah, let's wait a little bit. Yeah, any question can arise, and we can close the session.
Mm,
Thank you very much. By the way, it's a great presentation. We learned a lot from you. I hope that we can continue our learning with you in the future.
yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Malik.
Yeah. I think no question arises. I'm checking the YouTube side. In any case, no, there's no question. Okay, we can say goodbye already. Thank you very much again, Smith. Okay, hope to see you again.